All we was doing with Eazy-E was going to different neighborhoods and out drinking and out smoking everybody. Eazy would introduce us to the toughest gangbanger, roughest Crips, Bloods, Mexican hoods.
Chapter 1. Bizzy Bone versus the Streets of LA. As a founding member of Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, Bizzy Bone had a reputation for being tough, with a career tied to legendary figures like Eazy-E and Tupac Shakur. But despite that fame and connection, Bizzy still found himself in trouble with LA gangs. One such situation was in January 2009, when he became a victim of a honey trap. The rapper met and got two women to his hotel room, unaware of who they were and what they've planned. But he started getting suspicious when one of the women kept stepping out to take calls. His suspicions were confirmed when 45 minutes later, some men stormed in, beat and choked him, and stole $35,000 in jewelry.
I started feeling something around my neck. Like, I thought I was dreaming, and I just felt like around my arms, on my neck.
Hotel surveillance led police to Marlo Bow Wow Jones of the Grape Street Crips, ironically working in gang intervention programs along with Van Quan, V, Ricky Pearson, Lil BK, and Marquise Goss, Cheese. Their downfall came when they were spotted outside Bizzy's hotel room taking pictures with his friend Julian and posting them on Facebook.
Maybe 3-4 weeks later, like maybe even a month, these get caught. Why these get caught was because they was outside of my hotel room door taking pictures with my Julian, like on Facebook. This is when Facebook kind of like first started out.
They were arrested after that, and they all pleaded guilty. Lil BK got 19-year sentence, Van Quan 11, and Cheese 6. Since then, the attack has often been cited as a warning on the dangers of not checking in. But that wasn't even the first time Bizzy Bone got checked in LA. In fact, he shared that the first time that happened to him, it was Eazy-E that made Bone Thugs-n-Harmony check in by introducing them to LA's toughest gangbangers as some form of test by intimidation to see how tough they really were. Luckily for them, things didn't get too far because Eazy pulled up at the last minute.
10 came in, then another 10 came in, and we all just sitting there. So eventually, Lil Lazy got on the phone like, yo, E, like, it's a lot of here surrounding us.
Chapter 2. Shaq. From NBA superstar to West Coast target. After Bizzy Bone's brush with LA gang politics, another high-profile celebrity learned the hard way that fame does not guarantee a celebrity's safety in Los Angeles. In 1996, Shaquille O'Neal signed a $120 million deal with the Lakers, winning 3 straight championships from 2000 to 2002. When Shaq landed in LA, one of the figures he got acquainted with was Eugene Big U Henley of the Rollin' 60s Crips, who would later run youth programs and community initiatives. Shaq donated to causes in South Central, including Big U's nonprofit Developing Options, which promoted youth sports and anti-gang work. Publicly, it was charity. Shaq wanted to give back. But federal prosecutors now allege the money was funneled into crime, not charity, claiming Henley misled athletes, city programs, and donors in a mafia-style RICO scheme built on extortion and fraud.
That part of the indictment where they're basically talking about how a bunch of NBA players got scammed by another player. And then he makes them like hand over $100,000 each.
To stay even safer in LA, he aligned with the Main Street Mafia Crips, forging a bond with their leader, Liddell Del Dog Rowles, who offered protection in exchange for business ties.
Listen, man, you know when you're not from a place, like one thing I always do. It was with Del Dog, though.
However, trouble came when Shaq's label, Deja, clashed with Robert Stutterbox Ross over profits. Feeling cheated, Stutterbox tried blackmailing Shaq with claims of a cheating tape.
Rumor of a Shaq tape that was being used against him by this other guy, this gangster called Stutterbox from over there, who's not alive anymore from what I understand. Or maybe he's still alive, actually. That could be.
In 2008, Del Dog and others beat Stutterbox, robbing him of cash and jewelry. He went to police, accusing Shaq and his partner, Mark Stevens, of ordering the attack and even requesting other crimes. The FBI wiretapped Del Dog and Mark, but Shaq denied ties and no charges stuck. Stutterbox later admitted the tape never existed. Though Del Dog and others were tried, they were acquitted in 2011. Stutterbox's lawsuit against Shaq was dismissed, and Del Dog was killed in 2015. Shaq eventually left LA, weary of gang-related turmoil and also after being traded to the Miami Heat by the Lakers.
From Shaq on down, everybody had a situation with them gangs out there. And whether you got extorted or whether you got robbed, something has always happened in the West Coast.
Chapter 3 – Chris Brown – When Affiliations Backfired. After Bizzy Bone and Shaq learned the risks of LA street politics, Chris Brown became another celebrity whose fame collided with gang culture. In the early 2010s, Chris was accused of being too cozy with the Bloods, especially the Fruittown Piru set. After his 2009 domestic violence case, Chris Brown began repping Fruittown Piru. Some fans have said it was extortion. He performed with Bow Wow, linked to Bloods, and connected with the game's Black Wall Street and rapper Compton Menace. Reports tied him to Blood members like Parlay of the Pueblo Bishops, and in 2011 his hit Look at Me Now nodded to his Virginia roots and Piru ties. Spin and TMZ documented him throwing up signs and even spray painting Fruits Piru in Hawaii. His affiliations brought danger. Close associates share that Crips pressed him in 2013, and shootings hit events he attended, including a San Jose concert and a pre-VMA party where Suge Knight was wounded.
Chris Brown threw a party to celebrate the pre-release of his album X. Everybody was there. Justin Bieber, Young Jeezy. So around 1:30, everybody's partying, having a good time. The place is packed. Shots ring out, hitting Suge Knight.
Bloods leveraged his fame, appearing in a circle and on sets, while Chris donated sneakers to Compton kids and 1,000 pairs to Big U's Developing Options. Charlemagne said he was being extorted. Wack 100 called him a respectful Piru.
And Chris Brown, for the last decade, at one point in time, I wouldn't acknowledge him as that because I come from that, right? But for the last, he ain't playing with it.
Chris Brown is known for throwing up hand signs, but the problem was this. The more he embraced blood culture, the more the Crips began targeting him. The internet went crazy when videos surfaced of Crips calling Chris out for disrespecting neighborhoods he didn't belong to. Some fruit towns dismissed him as a celebrity stunt and demanded payment, though others backed him for hiring locals and donations.
All these dudes is claiming Piru, Chris Brown, all of these other dudes. You can't use a cracker's name and they don't get paid for it, huh? So how you use Piru? How do you use Compton and you ain't been there? Check in.
Chapter 4 – Justin Bieber, the pop star in Gangland Crosshairs. In the early 2010s, Los Angeles had proven a city where fame alone could not guarantee safety. Justin Bieber, a teenage pop phenomenon with millions in touring revenue, was suddenly thrust into this reality. In LA, a celebrity without deep street credibility often meant vulnerability, and Bieber, a Canadian kid with no gang ties, was an easy target. Stories from TMZ and police insiders revealed that Bieber's Calabasas mansion became a hangout spot for rappers and local affiliates, many of whom had direct gang connections. It was during this period that figures associated with the Bloods and other LA sets began to circle Bieber. Some accounts suggest that gangs saw him as a walking ATM, someone with limitless money but no muscle. This wasn't about lyrical beef or disrespect, it was about extortion, plain and simple. One infamous moment came in 2014 when Bieber's crew clashed with Orlando Bloom in Ibiza. While tabloids painted it as Hollywood drama, street insiders pointed out something more important. Bieber was rolling with protection, not from Canadian security, but from LA-connected individuals who understood how to navigate gang politics. He had begun to check in without fully realizing it. In one neighborhood encounter, Bieber was pressed by Crip members and forced to drop down and do push-ups after being accused of blue flaming in their hood, a humiliating moment that showed just how little his fame mattered on the streets. On another occasion, a raggedy block in Hollywood turned into chaos when an MS-13 affiliate confronted Bieber, causing him to panic and run off rather than risk escalation. And in yet another incident, his luxury car broke down deep in the wrong neighborhood, leaving the superstar stranded and at the mercy of whoever spotted him first.
Say hi to your fans, though? I don't want you to do that. Huh? All right. Hey, I got Justin Bieber here at the Swami, though. Right here in my hood, homie. MS gang. That's Justin Bieber. That's Justin Bieber for you guys. He's in Hollywood.
Social media made matters worse. Bieber's constant Instagram post of luxury cars, jewelry, and location check-ins created an open invitation. In the years that followed, Bieber recalibrated. By 2017, as he matured, married, and shifted his image away from reckless partying, he quietly distanced himself from LA's gang-heavy nightlife. The Calabasas mansion parties ended. Chapter 5 – Pop Smoke, the Instagram post that gave away his location. Another celebrity who paid dearly for not checking in was Pop Smoke. In the early hours of February 19, 2020, Brooklyn drill star Pop Smoke was in Los Angeles, renting a mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Just hours before, he'd been posting photos on Instagram, designer bags, views from the balcony, even a gift bag where the address was visible on the label. That detail would lead to a fatal news. Pop never officially checked in, and without those local protections, he was moving in the city exposed.
I talked to Pop Smoke 3 days before he died and asked him if he needed anything. He was like, I'm good, big bro. And I was like, and then Lolo woke me up. You and me, Lolo. She woke me up on a tour bus. Me and Wack, we in the middle of Europe. She like, Pop Smoke died, bro. I shed a tear.
Around 4:30 a.m., multiple armed men broke into the house. Police later tied them to the South LA crew with Hoover connections. They went straight upstairs, confrontation followed, Pop fought back, even wrestling with one intruder who had a gun. A shot rang out, striking him in the torso. He collapsed near the stairs. Paramedics rushed him to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, but he didn't survive. He was just 20 years old. Authorities later arrested 4 suspects, 2 adults and 2 minors, and revealed the motive was robbery. They'd stolen his Rolex, selling it for barely $2,000. Chapter 6: PNB Rock, the deadly cost of ignoring LA's rules. Similarly, PNB Rock's tragic death in Los Angeles revealed the brutal reality of extortion and gang check-in politics. On September 12, 2022, while dining with his girlfriend at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, he was fatally shot in what police described as targeted robbery. Many in hip-hop quickly tie the incident to a long-standing LA culture where outsiders are expected to tap in with local power brokers for safety. Rock himself had spoken about this just weeks before, admitting in a DJ Academics interview that he felt targeted in LA because he refused to move with fear.
He ain't check in. Don't not in front of that black woman and that black baby. In that restaurant with some iconic restaurant.
The circumstances struck a nerve in hip-hop. Unlike some rappers who roll deep with security or align with local gangs, Rock seemed vulnerable, and the Instagram story showing his location only worsened the situation. But beyond the robbery narrative, that extortion in Los Angeles wasn't only about money. It was about control, respect, and territory. Chapter 7: Gunna, extortion in the shadows of YSL and LA. Then we have Gunna's story. Gunna was linked online to the Shady Park Crips, a Crip offshoot in Atlanta allied with 4PF, 952K4K, PFK3L, while feuding with BM5PRG, Casket Gang 2727, and YSL. Some question if he was a real Crip. Prosecutors vaguely tied him to 2 Shady Park murders. In 2024, at the BET Awards in LA, Gunna was reportedly pressed by goons who confronted him about being in their city while labeled a rat. The situation turned tense with whispers that he needed to leave Los Angeles immediately.
Gunna want him, man. You can't be in the city doing all that ratting. Rat.
While Gunna's legal issues have mostly centered on Atlanta's YSL RICO case, his ventures into Los Angeles brought another layer of pressure. In 2021, before the indictments, whispers circulated in hip-hop circles that Gunna was being pressed by certain West Coast sets for performance money and street clearance. Unlike traditional record label splits, this tax wasn't on paper. It was enforced by threat. Chapter 8: Denzel Washington, a Hollywood target in Gangland, LA. Even seasoned stars weren't immune to LA street rules. Denzel Washington, one of Hollywood's most respected actors, wasn't fully safe from Los Angeles gang politics in 1990 when Denzel Washington and director Antoine Fuqua wanted to film Training Day in Imperial Courts Watts. At the time, stars with no gang ties still faced pressure from street figures who controlled certain neighborhoods. A turning point came when he met the mother of the head guy, securing untouchable protection. He was told, if you're good with her, you're good everywhere. From then on, the neighborhood watched over him. Denzel used this access to study his role as Alonzo Harris, asking locals how they'd view such a cop. Calm and unfazed, he insisted Imperial Courts was people, not a war zone. Real residents appeared in scenes as themselves, adding authenticity. His character also drew inspiration from Rafael Perez of the Rampart scandal. The fact that a 2-time Oscar winner had to think twice about where he went shows how deep gang influence reached in Los Angeles. Chapter 9: MC Hammer, the Oakland star who paid the streets. Before hip-hop became mainstream gold, MC Hammer discovered that even with street credibility, wealth could attract attention. At the height of his career, the Crips tried to make him check in, seeking protection in exchange for favors. Benito, one of Hammer's vocalists, recalled LA Crip founder Michael Concepcion approached with an offer of protection. Surrounded by a dozen bodyguards, Hammer refused, warning that one phone call could shut the whole thing down. The next day, Concepcion apologized.
Saying you to holler at me, man, you know what I'm saying, holler at me for protection. I'm saying, protection for what? See, man, I got 12 bodyguards out there. And for 5 of them straight killers. You know what I'm saying? So, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I don't need no protection.
Tension stemmed from third base's diss in the Cactus, rumored to have triggered a $50,000 bounty from the Crips. MC Search was trailed and threatened in LA with protection from Russell Simmons.
Eric B calls Russell and goes, yeah, it's true. There's a hit. Rolling 60 Crips, 30,000 members, $50,000. Dead.
Hammer's family ties to Oakland drug lord Felix Mitchell's 69 Mob also boosted his untouchable reputation. He confronted Ice Cube over a diss, had affiliates press Redman, who later apologized, and allegedly sent men after LL Cool J, earning Big Dog status, confirmed by Too Short and Fat Joe. Chapter 10. Snoop Dogg, Long Beach's Crip ambassador. For Snoop Dogg, fame and neighborhood roots collided in a unique way. Snoop Dogg rose in the early 90s under Dr. Dre, bringing more than a smooth flow. He brought Long Beach's Crip culture into hip-hop spotlight. His blue bandanas, calm drawl, and neighborhood roots made him a voice of the streets. Growing up around Rollin' 20s Crips shaped both his style and his storytelling. On the Chronic and Doggy style, Snoop mixed street life with mainstream success, giving many their first look into gang culture. In 1993, Snoop was charged in a murder case linked to his circle, though he was acquitted. The trial cemented his reputation as someone who couldn't fully escape the streets. Yet over time, Snoop shifted. While still showing Crip pride, he grew into a global star, actor, businessman, and mentor. He balanced his past with a new image. At the height of his fame, Long Beach Crips demanded that Snoop check in whenever he came back to the neighborhood, reminding him that no matter how famous he got, he was still tied to the set.
A white van pulls up, and it got like about 15, 16 people in it. And he shake my hand, I'm like, it's a pleasure to meet you, but let me let you know. When you ever in LA, don't ever jump out with no red or no blue on, because you don't know what neighborhood you in, loved one. Take my number down, so I'll holler at you.
However, to this day, Snoop remains hip-hop's most famous Crip, turning his gang roots into part of West Coast rap's identity. Chapter 11. Tekashi 6ix9ine, the Rainbow-Haired Blood. Decades later, Tekashi 6ix9ine, born Daniel Hernandez, burst onto New York's rap scene in 2017 with rainbow hair, face tattoos, and a wild scream-like voice. He joined the 9 Trey Bloods, not out of loyalty, but strategy, gaining protection, money, and street credibility. Tekashi flaunted his image in videos, shouting Treyway while surrounded by gang members. Tekashi spoke on how he never checked in when moving around LA, contrasting himself with Cardi B, who he claimed did so with Wack 100 on a podcast. He bragged about keeping his freedom of movement while pointing out that others had to play by the street rules.
When the Rolling 60 Crips was on our and think we didn't check in with nobody, right? And they went to every hotel room.
Cardi B was with us.
But that's because she checked in, we didn't.
But in 2018, he was arrested on racketeering and gun charges. Facing decades in prison, he cooperated, exposing 9 Trey in court. Though freed early, hip-hop labeled him a snitch. Once feared, Tekashi became mocked, a warning of how fake credibility can destroy real respect. Chapter 12. Tyga, Fame by Association. Tyga survived street politics by leaning on affiliations. Born Michael Ray Stevenson, didn't come from the same gang-heavy background as many peers. Though raised in Compton, he admitted growing up comfortably, sparking debates about authenticity. His industry image leaned on affiliations and particularly collaborations with Lil Wayne and Chris Brown. Brown's Fruittown Pyru ties inevitably overlapped with Tyga, who was often seen in red and filming in blood-dominated areas. Critics view this as branding rather than lived experience. Chapter 13. Eminem plus 50 Cent versus Suge Knight. By the early 2000s, Suge Knight's stranglehold over Los Angeles had begun to slip. Death Row Records was fading, but Suge still carried a reputation that sent chills through the industry. Then came Eminem and 50 Cent, 2 artists who weren't afraid to say Suge's name out loud, even when most rappers avoided it. For Eminem, the clash came through proxy. He was signed under Dr. Dre, Suge's longtime rival. In interviews, Eminem admitted that he understood the danger of aligning with Dre, but he never backed down. Tony Yayo recalled that while 50 Cent was shooting in the club, Suge Knight pulled up to the set with a crew trying to intimidate. Everyone froze, unsure what would happen, but Eminem stood firm and said, "I don't give a F, man." That fearless moment made the tension break and showed Suge he couldn't scare them.
He just lights the cigar, and it's the out Suge. He light the cigar, and he trying to see what you gonna do. So Eminem, 50, everybody outside, light the cigar. I was bugging because I seen, this is when I knew Eminem was real. He's like, I don't give a man.
50 Cent's feud with Suge was even more confrontational. Fresh out of Queens, 50 was already dealing with street wars at home, but Suge tried flexing West Coast muscle against him. At the 2003 BET Awards, eyewitnesses claimed Suge and his entourage attempted to corner 50 backstage. Instead of backing down, 50's G-Unit crew stood their ground, sparking a standoff that almost turned violent. From that point, 50 openly taunted Suge in interviews, branding him as outdated muscle from a dead era. Chapter 14. Big U, the shadow behind LA power moves. As older gatekeepers faded, a new figure emerged to enforce the city's unspoken rules. Eugene Big U Henley, a rolling 60s Crip, rose in Los Angeles street and music politics as Suge Knight fell. After prison in the 90s, Big U gained influence by managing artists like Nipsey Hussle, who credited him for early protection and connections. His approval became essential for rappers visiting LA, the check-in system he championed. Some accused him of extortion, but he framed himself as a protector of LA culture.
There ain't no sugarcoated, ain't no nothing in. It ain't not one human being that's not gonna check in. If you wanna come in their airspace, you're gonna check in.
For outsiders, Big E was either a gatekeeper maintaining order or a quiet continuation of the fear Suge once commanded. Chapter 15. Detroit's Dark Undercurrent. BMF's Rise in Street Power. Beyond LA, the same lessons applied elsewhere. Detroit birthed Black Mafia Family, or BMF, led by Demetrius Big Meech Flannery and Terry Southwest T. More than a drug cartel, BMF shaped early 2000s hip-hop by financing artists like Young Jeezy and defining the street-to-studio pipeline. Their empire stretched nationwide before collapsing in 2005 when Big Meech's arrest became legend, immortalized in verses and later in TV dramas. In Detroit, BMF meant power, validation, and danger. Rivalries over drug money spilled into rap, leaving artists to navigate alliances carefully. Even now, the Flannery name echoes part myth, part menace, and is forever tied to Detroit's identity.